Hello friends, welcome to Giselle Apparel. In today's tutorial, we are going to be learning how to make this pretty, elegant, lovely dress for a 5 to 6 year old baby girl. If this is a tutorial you are interested in, then please watch till the end. Do not forget to hit on the subscribe button, like our videos, comment and then share. Let's get started. To make this lovely dress, I'll be making use of this cotton print fabric. I have here about 3 yards, and I also have here a black velvet fabric. This velvet is very stretchy, so I'll be using less than 1 yard of it, and I will go ahead cut out the pieces so we can start with our dress. So I tried to draft on the velvet fabric and it wasn't visible enough, so I'm going to be making use of this cotton fabric so you can be able to see. So my fabric measures 11 inches in length and 8.5 inches in width. The fabric is just a piece on fold. This is the folded end, and then it's folded into 2 pieces. From the top, I'm going to mark out a straight line. So I went down by about half an inch. I'll rule a straight line across. Then this line is going to be serving as my shoulder line. On this line, I will mark out half of my shoulder measurement, which is 5.5 inches. And for my chest line, I'll mark 6 inches away from the shoulder line to the bottom. Mark that. That is going to be my chest line. And I'll rule a straight line across this as well. So I'll be drafting both the front and the back on this piece of fabric. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to input my shoulder length onto this chest line. I'll mark it and connect a straight line to touch the 2 points together. I will then input my neck measurement. For the front, I'll be doing a neck width of 3 inches and a depth of 2.5 inches for the front, and for the back I'll be doing a depth of 1.5 inches. So I'll draw in my necklines. This dress is not going to be having any opening on the sides or on the back. That is why I'm making the neck a bit deeper, and all my measurements have adequate ease, so this dress can be very comfortable to put on. Next, I'll slope the shoulder by half an inch and connect a straight line to touch the neck this way. I will then input a quarter of my bust measurement. I am working with 6.5 inches. I'll mark that. Then I would also add in my seam allowance of half an inch on the bust line, mark. And on the waistline, I'll input my waist measurement 7 inches for this child. After marking that, I would add in half inch seam allowance as well. Connect a straight line from the bust to touch the waist. Then I'm going to measure this line and divide it into 2. That is the shoulder to the chest line. I'll divide it into 2 and then mark it. And I'll go in by a quarter of an inch, mark, and draw in my armhole curve. So I'll be using my curve ruler for this. I'll connect a curve from the shoulder to the chest line to draw the armhole curve. So you can also use your free hand to do this if you are okay with that. So this is how simple it is to draft this bodice. I'm done. I'm going to cut out this pattern. I'll start off by cutting out the back piece first. Then on the shoulder line, I'm going to be adding half an inch to the shoulder slope. So I'm cutting out half an inch for the seam allowance there. So I'm done with the back. This is my velvet fabric. I'll place my cotton fabric on top of the velvet and then cut out my back pattern piece. So after cutting out the back piece, I have a single piece here for the back. This is what it looks like. I will then go ahead and then cut out the front piece on the cotton fabric. So all I have to do is to cut out the neckline for the front And when I'm done cutting, I'll place this cotton fabric on top of my velvet fabric and cut out my front piece. So I'm just pinning the fabric onto the velvet so that it doesn't shift away while I'm trying to cut. So I'm done. This is what the front piece also looks like. I will then place the right sides of the front and then the back together. Remember, I'm not going to be having any opening on this dress, so I'll place them right sides facing each other, both front and back. Then I'll head to my sewing machine and then stitch the shoulders down on 1/2 inch. So I'll stitch both shoulders down. So I'm done stitching the shoulders. I've joined the front and the back together. It's looking so good already. I have here my bias strip of fabric which I'm going to be using to clean the neckline of this dress. So stitch it all around and then flip it over and top stitch to have a neat finish for the neckline. This is what the neckline looks like. I have cleaned the neckline with the bias strip, and this is the wrong side of my fabric. This is what it looks like. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside so I can work on the sleeve piece of this dress. So I have here a piece of fabric on fold. This is where I'll be drafting my sleeve. This is a folded end. It's folded into 2 pieces. The length of my fabric is 6.5 inches and the width is 8 inches. So I'm going to go down by 2.5 inches from the top mark, and then I'll draw in my sleeve curve. So this is like an inverted S, and I'm using my free hand to draft this sleeve. So I've done that. I'm going to cut out this sleeve. So when I'm done cutting out the sleeve, at the sides here I'll mark 1/2 inch and reconnect to the top this way. I'll cut out this piece, and when I open up my sleeve, this is what it looks like. I'm going to place this on my velvet fabric and cut out 2 pieces. So I have done that. This is how my sleeve looks like on the velvet. So I have 2 pieces, one for each sides of my dress. The next thing I'm going to do is to fold in the hem of the sleeve down by about 1/4 inch twice and stitch from one end to the other. I'll repeat same for the other sleeve. I'll stitch out the hemline, and then on the top of the sleeve I will just draw in gathers. So I've done that for the 2 sleeves. This is what they look like. I have here my elastic tape, which is 8 inches in length. I'll be placing this elastic on the hem of the sleeve. From one end I'll stitch it down at the bottom, and while I'm stitching I'll be pulling so it can create a beautiful gathers at the hem of the sleeve. I'll repeat same process for the other sleeve. Place your elastic tape on it, and while you sew, just stretch out the elastic so that the fabric can gather at the hem of this sleeve. So I'm done with the sleeve. This is what they look like. I have 2 pieces for each sides of my dress. I'm going to place the sleeve on the armhole area of my dress, and then I would pin this down from one side of the armhole to the other side. So if you are enjoying this tutorial, please do not forget to hit on the subscribe button, like our videos, comment and share. We have a lot of very beautiful outfits that we are going to be teaching you in the subsequent weeks, which you do not want to miss. Thank you for watching up until this point. So when I'm done pinning the sleeve onto the armhole area, I would then head to my sewing machine and then stitch this down on 1/2 inch. So I repeat same process for the other side. So I've stitched my sleeve down and I hem the rough edges on the armhole. This is what it looks like on the wrong side of my fabric. I would align the sides together and then I would head back to my sewing machine and stitch the sides down on 1/2 inch. I repeat same process for the other side of the dress as well. So I'm done. I have serged the rough edges on the sides of my bodice. This is what it looks like. I'm going to measure the waist region of this bodice. I have about 13.5 inches in length, but remember this fabric is very stretchy, so I'm going to add 1/2 inch to this to make it 14 inches, and I'll divide this into 2, so I'll be having 7 inches. I'll take note of this. This will help me to be able to draft my skirt. So let's set this aside so we work on the skirt patterns of this dress. So for my skirt, I have here a piece of fabric folded into 4. So this end is on fold. These sides are 2 folds here together, and I've just held the fabric down with pins. These sides are the pieces. I have 4 pieces here, and this side also have 4 pieces. So I'm going to be cutting out a 360-degree flare skirt for this outfit. Remember, the folded end is facing me. So the length of my fabric is 27 inches and then the width is 22 inches long. So from the apex of this fabric where I have the folded ends, so I'll place my tape measure across this way and then ensure that I have 7 inches mark on this fabric. So place it such that you can locate 7 inches across, and make sure that this tape measure is straight on this fabric. So if I get that 7-inch mark, I'll mark it on the sides here. Then I would also measure what I have from the apex up to that 7-inch mark we got. So I have nearly 4 inches. I'll mark that across and then rotate the tape measure and keep marking this 4 inches across. So this is going to be the radius of my skirt. So in this video I marked out 3.75, but I later cut out 4 inches. So mark this across. This is going to be the radius of my skirt. So join the point with a curve, and away from that curve I'm going to mark the full length of my skirt. I'm working with 17.5 inches. I'll mark that across and then just rotate my tape measure so I can be able to cut out the flare on the hem of the skirt. So I'll mark this across all around, and then when I'm done with this, I'll cut out the radius of this skirt, that is the waistline. I'll cut it out, and I'll also cut out the hemline of my skirt. So this is very easy to follow. I hope you would agree with me on that. So after cutting out the first tier, I'm going to be using this to cut out the second. So the second is going to be shorter than the first. So this is it here. I have my fabric on fold just like I folded for the first tier. The folded ends are towards me here. This side is folded as well, and I have the pieces at the other side. So I'm going to measure this. The width of this fabric is 18 inches and then the length is 22 inches. So I'll place my first tier on top of this fabric this way. I want to use this to cut out the waist of my second tier. So I'll place it aligning the sides together. So when I'm done aligning, I'll cut out the waist region of the skirt. I'll take out my first skirt and then I would input the full length of this second skirt, which is 13 inches. I'll mark that across from the waist region and rotate my tape to get the hem of the skirt. So remember, I am marking out 13 inches from my waist region. this is the length of my second tier. So I'll mark that all across, and then I would cut this skirt out. So I'm done. This is what the skirt looks like after opening. This is what is going to be on top of my bigger skirt. So I have the second skirt here. I'm going to turn it to the right side. This is what it looks like. This is a 360-degree flare skirt I have cut. So I'm going to place the shorter one on top of the longer one. So I've done that, and then at the waist region I'll align both waists together, and I would use my pins to just hold the two skirts together on the waist region. So I'll pin it all around. And I'm done pinning. This is what it looks like. I'll bring in my bodice of the dress, that is the top part of this dress, and then I would be attaching the skirt onto the waist of this bodice. So this is the bodice. Place it down and then turn the skirt to the wrong side. So turn it this way and join the waist of the skirt to the waist of the top part of this dress with pins. So you notice that I'm joining the right side of the bodice to the right side of the skirt fabric. So I'll pin it all around, joining the waist together. And when I'm done with this, I'll head to my sewing machine and stitch it down on 1/2 inch. So I've stitched the bodice to the skirt, and then my dress is complete. This is what it looks like. For the hem of my skirt, I'll be finishing off the hem with a bias tape. So I'll place the bias tape on it this way and then stitch it all around the hem of my skirt. So when I'm done stitching on the first tier, I'll repeat same process for the other tier. So I'll just place the bias tape all around and then stitch it to create that beautiful design on my dress. And to complete the look of my dress, I actually attached a fabric flower to the top of this dress, and the dress is done. This is how simple it looks. Very beautiful, very easy to put together. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and you give us a thumbs up, like our videos, comment and share with your loved ones. Thank you so much for making time to watch this tutorial. This is what the back of the skirt looks like. Very gorgeous, very beautiful. Thank you so much for making time to watch this tutorial. We'll see you in our next tutorial. Please do not forget to hit on the subscribe button, like our videos, comment and then share. See you in our next tutorial.